Good afternoon. Welcome. First Ponderings of the new year. And we got Miss Elizabeth Markle with us today. And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, and to all of y'all out there. Praise God.
Yes.
And I just need to say right off the bat, if Elizabeth seems a little antsy like that, it's because she's got on socks down there that she says don't match up with anything that she's got on. But
that's okay.
See, the thing is, you just need to be in the basics. See,
the basics.
Black socks. Though I am stepping out in the new year, I'm going to be a little bit more flashy. I got on some gray pants.
Gray pants. I actually noticed that.
Yes. Black. But that's just a wild side for today.
Okay.
Just for today.
Well.
Pastoral care.
Yes. Yes.
So what you got going on? You head up all that ministry out there, and you got big thing coming with the counseling center and all the rest. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah. I just went down to the counseling center last week. Andy gave me a tour. I don't know when you've been in it most recently.
I was told Andy I wanted to wait until he got it all set.
Okay,
but before people moved in.
It was an amazing transformation since the last time I was in there. We just want to give credit right away. Kim Wilhite from our congregation is an interior designer, and she has graciously given her time, her energy, her talents to help us make it look like a counseling center.
And does it?
And it is looking awesome. God's Goods, Kim Perry has been so great to look for items from God's Goods. We gave her kind of a wish list, couches, chairs, lamps, things that come in like neutral colors like you're wearing today.
I thought they was kind of flashy myself.
Well, better your color than my color. And the God's Goods team have been bringing things over. Andy's office is almost complete. He has.
Now, is his office going to be downstairs or upstairs?
Nope, he is upstairs. He's in the room that sits across from the outside bathroom in the hall. Okay. So he's overlooking the campus. Yep. And his room's almost complete, so he'll begin counseling there anytime, maybe. I think the official start was going to be the day after Martin Luther King Day, but he might even be seeing clients there this week. And then we have, in the other counseling offices, we have an assortment of furniture, and so Kim and Roger Abney too. I told Roger the other day when I was there, we're going to have to get him another Employee of the Month cake because Sweet Roger moved from doing all of the renovations with his team at the parish hall, and I think he had maybe a 2-week break, and then we told him that we were going to put the counseling center there at the old rectory. So
Roger does a lot of behind-the-scenes things for people, and Becky's always baking cookies for him and all that just to let him know he's appreciated.
Well, we really appreciate him. And he was, the day I was there, he was in one of the counseling offices building or fixing something. So the other rooms are coming together. We're working on, furniture, drapes. There are rugs down in all the rooms because of the noise with the wooden floors. So that looks great. And then on the downstairs, all the counseling offices are upstairs. In the downstairs, the waiting room is almost complete.
No, that's when you come in the front. Left-hand side.
To the left, yep. So there's a beautiful rug in there, beautiful seating. There's 2 desks for now. We don't know when exactly they will be staffed, but Lauren Weaver's going to work for a while sort of as the administrative assistant. She's going to be working on social media, working on getting familiar with the software system. And so until she's ready to launch into counseling, because she's still taking care of little Levi.
Just baptized the baby.
Yeah, although he's not like this anymore. Like, he is getting big. We were teasing her the other day about that. But so Lauren will be in there for now, but that room's almost ready. It looks wonderful. In fact, I was joking with Andy. I was like, we might need a schedule where the staff can, like, on a weekend, book a 2-hour time slot to just come and sit and rest, because it's beautiful. It just feels very peaceful, the light coming in. And then the other side will have 2 offices. That furniture is just starting to appear in there. One will be one day if God brings a new priest our way. That room will be ready, that office. And then the middle room between that office and the kitchen eventually will be a pastoral care office. So I'll be down there, and maybe another person
eventually. And the kitchen area
eventually.
kind of be like a workroom? Is
Yep.
that the idea of it, with a copier, all that
Yep.
kind of stuff?
So we got a big table. So there's like a conference room / dining room table that people can sit in there and talk, the staff. And then all the cabinets and things will become, office supplies, the copier, the fax machine. So every part of the house is going to be used. I'm sure the closets eventually will have, files and things to store. But I think you're going to be really, really pleased when you go in. It's beautiful. And it's always amazing to me, someone with the gift of interior design, which I do not have.
Kim's got it, though.
She has it. And I told Andy, I was looking for the word to describe it. And I said, you know what? It feels established to me. It doesn't feel like something that's just been put together in the last month or two. And it doesn't feel like you would never know that she went to all these different consignment stores or to God's Goods and just picked random pieces. When you walk into the room, it really looks like those pieces have been there a long time were compiled to be in a set.
She just has that. It's a gift. She just has that eye for things, and it's almost like she has a picture in her head, and she knows what the finish is. She picks this over here, and that goes in that little piece, like you're putting together a jigsaw. She helped us the same kind of way when we moved into the house on Victoria Bluff over there, and she was so gracious in sharing her talents and that nifty way she has of catching a vision and pulling it all together.
I think it'll be really neat. You know how you've walked into new offices before, and it's kind of like getting a new car. Like it looks very nice, but everything's a little stiff maybe, or a little sleek. It hasn't kind of been worn in, or it just doesn't have that homey look per se, because it's brand new. And I think it's totally different at the counseling center. I think when people walk in, even though they'll know in their minds that this is a new organization, a new ministry, it feels very homey. It feels like it looked like this a long time. So I think that'll create a sense of peace and calm, which is what we want to go for, and comfort, Now,
are y'all building a website for the pastoral care, counseling, all of that kind of in a pastoral care website that interfaces with the church's website, or what are y'all doing with that?
So we've just seen, and I was on the Zoom call with Andy, we just saw the first draft of it's going to be crosscounseling.org. We've bought the domain name. Cross Christian Counseling Center is a lot for a person to type in. And then CCCC doesn't really speak to it. So I think it's going to be crosscounseling.org, and we're going to use org as godsgoods.org as well instead of .net. And this was our first look at Scott. I don't know the company name, but we've used him here at the church many times. So he built a website. He built the website template, and he filled in the different, different components. So we have a side tab with, the About Us section, the services that are offered, contacting us, the vision, the mission, and then there's going to be a resources tab there to answer your question about the pastoral care interface. So I believe under that resources tab is going to come where we can really put not only, additional counseling resources, like maybe this is a good website to look at, or this, place has good articles, but where we can really put in there different things from the church, things about our services. Are you looking for a home church? Some of the different ministries that we have that are open to the community, such as Healing After Loss or Caregivers. Stephen Ministry, that's going to be a big one.
Yeah. Now, is the idea that you have eventually have this one website for pastoral care, or is it a website for the cross counseling that then interfaces with the main church website that hooks you into all the pastoral care ministries?
Yeah. At this point, I think that's the direction that we're looking at. So on the church website, just like with God's Goods, when you go to the cross counseling tab, wherever that will be, and you click on that, it will generate the link to then click on and go straight to the website. We'll put some information, but just like we do with God's Goods, we send them to the actual website and Facebook page. And then there will be the reciprocal that when someone visits, the Cross Counseling page, just like we do this with Cross Schools. If they visit the Cross Schools page, there's also going to be a place where they can then connect and come back to the church and have more information.
Will they be able to go from Cross Schools to Cross Counseling?
That
could be a link.
We've not discussed that, but that could absolutely, once we get the website up and running, that link can come up on Facebook pages. That link can be given as QR codes on, flyers. And I mean, the possibilities are honestly endless.
Well, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah. So the website is underway. The furnishing is underway. The sign, which I think you saw.
I saw a draft of the sign, yeah.
Yep, we have
it out front.
Yep.
Like we have in front of the church,
It's going to match up with the church signs, and it's going to use a brand new logo that Kelly Williamson, our graphic designer, designed for Cross Christian Counseling, based on Andy's real vision, came out of the idea, the scripture that he is the potter and we are the clay. And that image was the vision behind creating the logo, the design. Mm-hmm. And so that'll be a really fun kind of reveal to the congregation, using that scripture. That's going to be sort of the image and the idea that's put out there to new clients, that idea that we are the workmanship of the Lord.
And this is going to be a resource not just for the congregation, but more importantly for the community.
Yes.
And
yes,
through the community, the Cross Counseling can even become like a doorway into the church family for people who don't have a church home anywhere.
Yeah. And once we get the website design up and running, everything can be changed. We can look at it and see if we want, an actual Church of the Cross tab. There's a lot of things that we can look at. But first we just have to get all the sections ready, get the different information in there. There's going to be a map so people can just click, when it says directions, and a map will come up to show them where it is. So all the different pieces.
That map's important. On the GPS stuff sometimes, it sends you to the other end of the street.
Yeah.
And that's because, it must be, I guess, 8 or 10 years ago, the post office changed the number on the street and reversed all the numbers. And so Water Street begins with the low numbers up there by the historic church and goes up to the high numbers at the other end.
I wonder why they did that.
One never knows.
Just to make things confusing. Well, there is a picture of the outside of the building as well there. So that way, even if someone's not quite sure, to give them a visual. So it's going to be exciting, and those things are all underway.
Have a target date for that website and all that? Is that done before you start actually doing counseling stuff? So you have...
No, Andy is counseling now and will begin counseling under the Cross Counseling Center official name and at the location. I think the website, I don't know that there's an exact target date more than we saw the draft, gave some feedback, there's going to be some more adjustments, and then plugging in the information. So, and the insurance companies, that's been Andy's big job here in these first months, is to get those relationships with the insurance companies. So some of them are, I think, complete. Some of them are complete. That's great. And then he has like pending ones out there, just the steps. So that'll be important. I don't know exactly when we'll launch the website, but we want to have some of those, I'm sure, in place so we can publicly put that out there to start, and then we'll of course add to them. I think we have at least 7 initial insurance companies that he's building a relationship with, that he's called other counseling centers around the area, and these are the 7 big insurance companies that they see clients using the most. So we'll go from there.
So when you get the counseling thing, what's on your agenda for the rest of the year? You got anything to do? You always are going around, you're like your ears on fire.
I just finished up kind of putting a plan together, military care. We meet next week, and I was working on trying to think through some ways to, help launch some long-term plans with that ministry. We have Healing After Loss is starting this Sunday. She has 7 participants.
That's a full house, isn't it, for that?
They like anywhere from 5 to 8 is the ideal small group. They've taken up to 10. But when you've experienced extreme grief, you don't want to sit in a room of 20 people. You want it to be something intimate and something that
whole
allows
thing is built
them to
around
talk.
sharing.
Yes, exactly. It's a very intimate program in the sense that you're listening to other people's stories and you're sharing your own story. And everyone there, every facilitator there has gone through loss and has also gone through the program themselves as a participant. And so when you enter in, you have this immediate bond, even if you don't know anyone on the first day, and that bond is then what creates that relationship.
It's all very confidential.
Yes, it's 100% confidential to that group. And Beverly has shared with me that many times, once the session ends, they always make a plan to initially meet one more time to go out for dinner or something. And then after that, a lot of times the group members continue to kind of meet together. And so it builds, a relationship base, people who've experienced, what you have, and that you can walk a longer journey with once the 7 weeks of How come to an end.
It's like you lose a relationship, but then you have a door opens to build some
Exactly. And so that's coming up. Caregiver support is this week on Thursday. I'll be down there, and that's once a month.
Are those ministries going to be all meeting now on the historic campus when the counseling center starts up? Is all that getting moved?
For the most part, they already do, with the exception military care right now meets at the Mission Mall because several of the participants do the food bank on Monday. And so it just kind of works out that they're cleaning up food bank stuff and everybody's kind of coming in. But I think ultimately, yes, we're looking.
Is that kind of the idea of the conference room in the counseling center?
Both
or is that
ways.
More of the library or something?
The conference room or just the table in the kitchen is at least initially a place for the whole staff to come and sit together, and share. Let's say maybe counseling's going on upstairs, but 2 of the counselors want to come downstairs and talk while somebody else is working. So it's just a meeting space, and I think that will be important because we just don't know who's going to walk in the door. I think, there's going to be, once the sign goes up, once it gets underway, there's going to be people who just pop in. I mean, they're not going to just have appointments, and they're going to have questions, or they're going to, maybe have needs that we might not be able to meet as a counseling staff in that moment. But, that's where I might step in with pastoral care or eventually a priest, so it's just meant as a place to sit and gather.
Speaking about people just walking in, y'all have got special locking mechanisms and cameras and all kind of stuff over there.
Yes,
for the security end of that.
We already have that taken care of. It's exactly similar to what was put in at the parish hall that Roger pushed through and took that initiative. So it's on the back door and the front door. Even though the regular door handles are still there, it's now a digital lock. So there's a code that the staff can use. And then even though I haven't been able to connect it yet, I have an app on my phone, just like everything has an app.
Whoa.
That I can now, once I get near the door, I guess, sync it to open it. And I think ultimately what that app is for on both the phones and the computers is there's cameras. So ideally, again, similar to what we have over at the school, but not here per se in the chapel, when someone approaches the door and rings the doorbell, it's going to send an alert to the phone or to a desktop computer. So let's say there's an office manager who sits there, and maybe their responsibility when that picture comes up, okay, there's someone at the door, there will be a speaker where they can say, hi,
before the person ever comes
before
inside.
the person comes in, can we help you? And that person can say, I have a 1 o'clock appointment with Andy, and then we can manually unlock the door for them to walk in, and then it will lock behind them. So, and that's just with the tourist area that Calhoun Street now is, and
it
just
is very
with
busy down
the
there.
culture of our world. It's just a safety precaution for everyone, and I hate that we live in a world that's important, but it is important, and so.
And I think people just have, like I was over there this past weekend and was walking between the parish hall and the church, and some people came walking up and they saw the sign on the wall that said restroom, and they said, would you let us in so we use the restroom, And their idea was this is a public restroom, and that everything's really public.
Right.
That's the whole thing. The columbariums, it's all public. People don't have that sense of reserved space or sacred space or anything like that.
Right.
That's just not there. It's not there.
Yeah. So I think, and again, if someone has a legitimate reason for coming in, of course, but it is there as just a precaution, and and then when you leave on the weekends and things, it's there, it's just, I don't have that kind of a door lock on my house at home, but I think that is the new way. You just have the digital locks, you have the cameras, you can see if somebody rings your doorbell, you can see who's there, even if you're away. And
Roger has, I don't know if it's an app or not.
I think so.
But he can lock the doors or unlock the doors from a phone or a
from
computer
anywhere.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's never this thing of I got to go check and see if all the doors are closed. All that's right there.
Yeah.
And the heating systems and all the rest of it
Yep.
are all apped up now. So.
Yeah, everything we have. In fact, you'll know where it is in the closet beside the kitchen entrance and the back door entrance. It's now like a little server room. There's all kinds of like Wi-Fi things in there and wires and.
Well, that's the thing. To support the app stuff on your phone, there's a lot of infrastructure that makes that easy to work.
Yeah, so you open it up and there's flashing lights and all the cords, and all of a sudden you're not.
And that's a separate phone line over there too, isn't it?
Yes, it will. So for now, cross counseling, the number for it goes directly to Andy's cell phone, and he can see that it's coming in on the cross counseling line. Eventually, yes, there will be, I don't know if that number will be rolled over or maybe that will stay his work number, but there will be a phone system installed. And so when you call the main number, the office manager or receptionist
So it's not coming through the
will
church's
answer.
phone system,
No.
per se. It's separate.
No, there's going to be an on-site location phone number for it. And then, of course, everyone has their cell phones. So, if the counselors choose to give a cell phone number to a client, that would be their privilege, their preference.
So you got a women's event coming up. Tell me about that.
Yes, we have our January 27th and 28th, our 2-day women's event. It is going to take place in 2 different locations. We're going to start on Friday right here in the chapel with worship and our guest speaker, whose name is Jody Nolan. And it's the idea behind her ministry. She has a really powerful testimony that when her husband passed away, she just really understood how important it is to speak words that matter while you can, and to leave behind a legacy of words that matter through written notes and letters, and leaving that legacy for children, for spouses. And when her husband died, he had not been able to do that for his children. And so it just has inspired her to create a ministry. She's written a workbook, and she goes and speaks about how to do that, how to become a person that uses the verbal word, the written word, to affirm, to encourage, to speak what you don't want to leave unsaid. We all think we have all the time in the world to tell somebody, that they matter. And so she's going to lead us through a whole bunch of different sessions on how to do that and why it matters. And she loves the Lord, and so there's a lot of scripture I'm sure she'll tie in.
We haven't ever worked with her before, have we?
No, but Deborah Watkins, who is a church member and just super fun person, worked with her and has had her come to a church where she was before she moved here. And so we've had some Zoom sessions with her. She's delightful. But we're going to be here on Friday evening. We'll start here with worship and our first session with Jody.
What time is it?
I believe it starts, okay, see, now I didn't review. I think doors open at 6:30 and I think it's 7. So 7 to about 8:30 or 9 is usually when we do it. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry.
But this is a good place for that.
Yes.
You got plenty of parking out there, and the parking lot is all lit up and everything like that.
And Friday night is meant to be sort of sometimes you come in, it's the end of the week, you've got 1,000 thoughts in your mind. So Friday is meant to be sort of like a releasing, just spend some time with worship, hear from Jody. We have some fun things we're going to send home with the ladies to just kind of get their hearts in the right place. And then Saturday morning, we're going to move over to the gym. So doors open at 8:30, and we're going to have a barista here from the Grind Coffee House. And
so making tacos and things like that?
Making special coffees first. We're getting to the tacos. So we're going to have some special things for the ladies, and we're going to have worship and our sessions with Jody. And then lunch is going to be a Moe's. I don't know if we're doing tacos. I think we're doing a fajita bar. And it's going to have you can make a big taco fajita salad. You're going to have all the salsas and the queso.
The people that make the tacos and all, aren't they called baristas?
No, that's coffee. Baristas are...
What do they call the taco maker?
The Moe's employees. I don't know.
That's a stretch right there.
I don't know
I bet
if
you
there's
some
official
word for that.
term.
Gotta be.
I haven't been in Moe's for a long time, but have you ever been in there?
No, I haven't.
When you walk in, if they still do it like they used to, they'll all be working, but as soon as the door opens, they say, "Welcome to Moe's." That's their thing.
I don't think I've ever been there before.
Yeah, you can get a big burrito. They used to do, I think it was Wednesday nights. They used to do I think they were $5 burrito nights. Those were the nights to go. Now they're probably $10 burrito nights if they still do it.
Wow.
But we're gonna have a nice lunch.
You said
and
worship a couple of times. Who's doing the worship?
So,
are you singing?
You know your favorite Barb Reddy, who sat right across from you? So when she was younger, her and 2 of her best friends had a worship group called Praise 3. And it's like a reunion tour. They used to travel around and lead worship. So they are coming back.
Like the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, for 2 days, 2 days only. Her friends they don't live here, so I don't even know where they're traveling from, but they're coming. They're so excited. So they're going to lead worship, and they're an a cappella style group. And also, I think one of them plays the keyboard. And so they're going to lead worship for us, which is just really special that we get to have one of our own staff members. And we did not know this about Barb. This was a hidden talent that I've known her for a couple of years now that I did not know until she just kind of casually threw it out there.
A reunion tour.
Yeah, that she led worship. And so they've already chosen the music. The music will match up with the event. It's going to be good. So you can get your tickets online. Just go to the website under events.
Do that church website.
Yep, church website under events. Just scroll down to January 27th. And when you click on there will be one more button to click, which will take you to a different website where you can put your information in, and there is a cost because you're going to get a workbook, you're going to get lunch, you're going to get some very fun special things like a good coffee, and then you can just pay online.
All that's part of it.
Yep, all part of it. And there's going to be we're calling them love touches, some sweet little things that just kind of are given out to encourage and let people know that they're loved.
I started to say it sounds like my kind of thing, but not really. It sounds like Becky kind of thing.
I hope she's able to come. It's gonna be special, and I think it'll be a good way to just start the new year off, have the ladies together, and just have fun too. It's not even though there might be some heavy parts to it as we think through, what we might want to say to somebody, but it's meant to be encouraging and affirming, something kind of light, light and happy to start the year off.
Well, I'm saying the poinsettias are still here. They got
Yes.
kind of falling apart now, and y'all are packing up all the...
So 2 hours ago, we were in here, Padre Salas. Tim, we have to give a shout out to our youth pastor, Tim, because I told him, I said, Tim, isn't it such a compliment that we put you up there with Dan Wade, our bodybuilder, because when we need some manual labor work and Dan's not available, we call Tim. So Tim Edwards was here. We really upgraded this year. Rebecca bought whole tree storage bags. So this time we don't have to even take apart the trees. We just kind of slim them down, stuff them in the bag with the lights, and then they'll be used for next year.
It really looked nice this year, really did. And it takes a lot to taking it down takes a lot, but the putting it up takes even more.
Yeah, and it looked so nice this year with the garlands, and we started to move the poinsettias, but the leaves were falling off, so we just left them for a little bit. We'll get to those. One thing about
when a poinsettia is gone, it's gone.
Yeah, it's I even swept to kind of make it look a little nicer for Ponderings. But it was wonderful.
Advent wreath gets put away too.
Yep, we'll get that. And
moving on, shifting gears now.
But it was beautiful, and with the lights this year on the garlands, that was something new we did. It looked really pretty.
Yeah. The seasons in the church here are really special. And
yep.
So now we moved to Epiphany, and we had a big baptism in here, so the baptism font was here.
I did slides on Sunday, so I got to see that. And here's something kind of neat. I feel like she would allow me to tell this. So Ava, who was the 10th grader who was baptized. Now I taught Abby when they came to Cross a couple years ago. I had Abby in lower school. She was one of my Bible students. But Ava, I had as an 18-month-old when I taught in preschool. And so I've known their family a very, very long, long time. And then Ava left Cross after preschool for a while and then returned as a maybe 8th or 9th grader. And she didn't know me, but I knew her. And I stopped her in the hall one day and I said, hey, I know you don't know this, but I was your first teacher here at Cross. I said, your mom and dad would remember Miss Elizabeth. And so that was just kind of special for me to be able to see that.
And now Ava and Abby, both of them.
Yes, and they both are here and both got baptized. So it's just a neat, neat connection.
Then on the 19th of February, we're going to baptize the daddy.
Yes, and I think that is so
campus,
awesome. Yeah. I love when you see the whole families, and so it's really special for me as someone who worked for so long at the school, and especially with the little ones, to see them old enough, to make these decisions and to want to come and be part of the church.
That's the big rationale behind the ministry across schools, to reach out to families just like the Kendricks. Yep. And there are a lot of them, a lot of them.
And a lot of times it really is the kids who, now I don't know in any of the situations from the families here this past week, but over the years I certainly have known of many times where a parent has come to me and said, my child wants to get baptized. My child is talking about this. My child wants to know why we're not more involved in church. And so it's the kids, I see it time and time again, who go home and, different reasons the family just might not be, plugged into a church. I mean, it could be anything, but they express the interest and they get the parents sort of thinking, okay, maybe we need to think more about this and take some action steps.
The little boy, Michael, who was baptized here, his mom teaches Spanish over there.
Yeah, I've met her before. We did not teach at the same time, but it's just, I love it. I love that. And then the kids will go and talk. They'll tell their classmates. They'll say, hey, I got baptized, or I'm getting baptized. And it's just, there's such a domino effect that you don't even think about it. Sometimes we don't even see, but how that could spark somebody else then, to start the process over again.
Amen.
Each one reach one, what you always say.
Yep.
So
what are you looking forward to, not in your ministry, but the New Year's coming? You got New Year's resolutions, or are you looking forward? I'm not much on resolutions, but
I'm not a resolution person either. I think that just sometimes it's too much pressure. And I will say, the first thing I learned about resolutions, anyone who is doing this, it's wonderful. It's just not for me. At the beginning of the year, so many people commit to doing the Bible in a full year. And I've learned that is not something I'm very good at. I'm a slow reader. I'm like a take it in, think about it, reflect. I like reading study notes, but I can't race through chapters in a week. And so that kind of, in some ways, made me rethink resolutions. That I certainly have goals, but I think that sometimes when you set yourself up to, I have to do this or I have to do that, and then sometimes you put pressure on yourself that doesn't necessarily work. But
Becky gets up early every morning to read the Bible, and so this past year, she decided that she would use one of those, I guess it's an app, where you go through like that, and she followed it all the way through, and she finished up the end of December in Revelation. She knocked it out.
Good
she was
for
through.
her.
But
I'm more of like the Bible in 2 years.
It fit into a pattern of Bible reading that she was already in. So it wasn't like she was turned over a whole new leaf and I'm going to start reading the Bible and boom, boom, boom. And she was already into that.
Yeah, and especially teaching Bible over there, I used to have so many things. I mean, I would be, for my 6th grade, I would be somewhere in the New Testament. For my 5th grade, I would be somewhere in the Old Testament. I would be all across the map. But that's always just not a resolution, but it just a continued, to just continue to grow in the Word, to read. I've always been a huge reader, but the older I get, I'm a slower reader, and I think I'm just a more tired reader. I used to stay up till all hours of the night. I could go through books, just fly through them, and now I just have to slow down, or I don't remember them. I can read fast, but then I don't necessarily remember. And I just, I like to read a little bit at a time and just think about it. Sometimes I write quotes down. I just kind of like to take it in. And so to read more this year is always a goal.
You reading something good now?
I always read multiple things at a time. So Pastor Jonathan would like this. I'm reading the full set of the letters of C.S. Lewis right now, which is just interesting to me. I'm not exactly sure why, but I think I like the letters between he and his brother and he and his father, and just kind of, watching him progress in the faith. I have a book that Pastor Tom and Terry Hendrickson gave me. The Sound of Life's Unspeakable Beauty. I might have that wrong. It's a little bit of a long title, but it is, talk about a book you have to go slow through. I think he's German, and it was a translation. Is luthier the way to say it, a violin maker? Luthier, Luthier. Okay, so he's a violin maker who takes the journey of making a violin and talks about how you can understand the Christian life through each step of the designing and creating of this violin. And it's a very unique book, and it's a little bit, I was thinking, in fact, that I should send this to Josh Hicks. His children, some of his daughters play the violin, because I don't understand all of it. Like when he's talking about the first chapter, he picks the wood, and so he's kind of talking about the choices and how the song is in the wood and things like that. But then he gets into like the sound and the acoustics and things. I don't quite understand that. I figured someone musical would. But it's a really beautiful book, and I'm going really slow through it because he puts scripture, he interweaves scripture and biblical truth with this journey of creating a violin. So I'm working on that. Sounds like a special book. It is, and it's a beautiful book. It has real thick paper. You know how some books are just beautiful to read. So I thank Pastor Tom and Terry for that. I'm working on that one. I have a Billy Graham book that I've kind of been thumbing through. I have a Henry Nouwen book I've been thumbing through too. I've been reading it. I don't know. Every night I just kind of decide what topic I want to read a little bit of. But are you reading anything good? I know you're a huge reader.
Right now I'm working on 2 books. One is called The White Ship.
Okay.
And it's about Henry I and how he came to power in England, and then about his son and how his son destroys it all.
Okay.
And then the other book I'm reading is a biography of Bear Bryant. Just started that one last night. Very special.
I don't know who Bear Bryant. I feel like I should.
Football coach at Alabama.
Okay.
You don't.
Bear Bryant.
Oh no, don't say it.
Okay.
You don't know who Bear Bryant is?
When you said Bear Bryant,
He's
isn't there some kind of nature guy named Bear or something? That was the first thing that came to mind, but then I thought, no, that's not right.
Anyway, I'm reading about Bear Bryant.
Okay.
Football. He and Vince Lombardi are probably the 2 greatest football coaches, one in pros and one in college. But
did you watch any football this weekend?
off and on.
I watched a little bit.
Off and on. They come on too late.
I know. Oh, I know. I heard. I did not watch it, but the Georgia game went till almost midnight, New Year's Eve.
Becky watched most of it. She dozed through most of it, but I went to sleep before that came on. I did watch some of the first one.
The TCU game.
Yeah, I watched some of that. But the things that come on late like that, come 7:30, 8 o'clock, I like to go read.
I totally agree.
There's not much on after that. So.
No.
But I mean, people that love all that, like she was watching last night, she started watching the game between the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati,
the
where
NFL.
the fellow went down and they had to stop the game and all that. That was in the first quarter. And they had to, the guy tackled somebody and then he stood up and he just went down and they had to do CPR and
oh my goodness, so not just a regular injury.
Oh no, and it was something to see all those players crying and everything, and they just stopped.
Was he okay?
He's in hospital up there in Cincinnati in critical care. I mean,
wow.
So they don't know whether he's going to live or not. But that was the different people, they'd never seen anything like that. Where it's not like you break a leg or something, and like the kind of things you'd hear in football.
Sure.
When you're out there and they're doing CPR on you and all that, and trying to get your heart to beat again, there's something serious going on there. So they don't know whether he's going to live or not. But
scary.
They're just all the stands. I mean, everything is ambulances, and so they just stopped the game. Don't know whether they're going to play it again now or not, or what was going on with that. But it was just such an emotional thing for everybody there, the teammates and the other team, and because I think the idea was all of a sudden they realized that they all love to play the game, and getting hurt is part of it. But you could die doing this.
But no game, no game is worth it. And all of a sudden, eternal things come into world things.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And people could see that could be me.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they stopped the game just with big business. You never know when people push ahead for the money factor, but.
But anyway, but it did do just what you just said. It went from a game to life.
Yes.
Or death. And all of a sudden, all those things we take for granted, like the game has 4 quarters, and here we are in the first quarter. We're just getting going, and we're not going to see the end of this game. And it could be the very same way in your life. We start out today, and we think it's going to be tomorrow and next week and all that. It might not be.
Yeah.
See? But we treat life casually, like people treat a game casually, when really there's a lot more involved in that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a somber note to wind up on. Food bank is still doing well?
Yeah. I just saw, in fact, an email from Craig came through that, it's just kind of, he always gives a little synopsis. I saw the needs for the week. I know peanut butter's on the list. I believe cereal's on the list. Pasta usually is, or soup too, soup. Yeah. I think it was peanut butter, soup, and cereal, but they were cranking through Christmas and New Year's, and I know their volunteers had a little Christmas get-together. That was, I believe, very special.
Powerful ministry. Praise God for that.
Yeah, and it's, I think it will be even more needed this year, just the cost of everything. I mean, gas seems to have been a little bit better than I think it could be, but the food prices are just downright. You just got to take a deep breath.
Yeah. And, I was watching a news show about economics, business network thing. And that was one of the things that you're talking about inflation is going to be 10%, and now they're saying it's already down to 3 point something, and it's going to be even less than that, and there's this disconnect between what they thought was causing all of it to the residual thing of the actual prices that people are dealing with. The gas thing has come down, but why haven't eggs come down? And chicken. And
there aren't any eggs to buy.
all that kind of stuff, that just seems. And after a while, it's not supply chain anymore. There's other stuff involved in that, but people can't seem to put their finger on what it is.
This past week, the eggs were gone. I mean, they were wiped out of the grocery store. I don't know what that was about. Maybe it was the cold weather or transport issues. But
you might understand that at Easter when people are dying eggs.
It was. I mean, Food Lion had not the day my mom was there. She took a picture and sent it to me. I mean, not one egg carton on the shelf, just totally empty. And I think Rebecca told me that she went to Publix one day and the only eggs there were like $9.
Whoa.
So I don't think she bought them. Because that's when we call our friends with chickens. Like Michael Ann. Michael Ann has chickens.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mystery about what's coming up into your head with respect to the economics and flu and all those kind of things that are always there. It just seems like there's extra things. Like if you were going to fly on an airplane now, I would say watch out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of iffiness and something.
Particularly over the holidays. I mean,
gosh.
I think you roll the dice a little extra risky. Christmas and Thanksgiving. I know the people, Southwest Airlines was the big one, and they said that they're going to pay for people's, whether it's their hotel or their restaurants or whatever inconveniences that they had to pay for. But I just think, how as a business do you even begin to how do people submit? I mean, it's going to be such a process.
And
I
a
can't even
big
imagine.
thing about an airline, Southwest or any of them, you start messing up and losing people's luggage and canceling flights. And people say, well, I'm not going to fly with you anymore.
And did you see, I don't watch the news all the time, but I did see some of the segments in baggage areas where there were just bags. I mean, just rows, and then you would see just people just walking through.
How are they ever going to get all that sorted out?
Oh my goodness.
But
so, especially if you had a black luggage. I don't have black luggage. I have bright blue. At least that would help me out just a little bit.
When we were doing work overseas, Becky would always, it's black. And she would tie a bright red ribbon
you
on
have to have
stuff around the
something.
outside of it like that, so it would somehow or another stand out. 'Cause all of it just looks the same coming through there.
Yeah. Who knows if that stuff will just get eventually carted to a warehouse. I don't know how that works, but I was glad to be in Bluffton for Christmas.
When I was in Bluffton, I'm glad to be here, and
Yeah.
don't plan to be leaving anytime soon.
Yes,
either.
well,
But there's enough to say grace over here.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm glad that I'm able to say grace with you.
Oh, well, thanks
Minister.
for having me
Minister
today.
you.
And
Such a perky person, and I look forward when you all get the counseling center set up. I'm ready to come over there.
And I think come time for the annual meeting in February, I think we will have a lot of things in place and a lot of things to announce and show to the larger congregation as well. Right. So it's to think that Andy started October 1st, and here we are right at the beginning of January, to see how much has already been done is just awesome. He's done a great job.
And he's a special fellow.
Yeah.
And his whole family.
Yep.
All right, so thank you so much for being here with me today, Dawn.
Thank
for
you.
sharing your time at the last minute like that.
Yep.
But see, you always...
Even with my mismatching socks, it's floral and then polka dot, but that's okay.
Yeah, you're kind of a polka dotty floral person.
I am.
You like that. So
and I'm glad you went wild too with your gray pants today.
Blowing it out today with my gray.
Yep.
So thank you for being here. Thank you all for being with us as well. And all we do here, know that God loves you, and so do I.